All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to buying a car. Now, the very first thing I want to mention is this. If you're going to buy a car, the best value for you is to buy a used vehicle. And the reason why you want to buy a used vehicle is because as soon as you buy a new car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it devalues. I forget what the percentage is, but bottom line is it's just better to buy a used vehicle. Now, there are some people who have trust issues with used vehicles, and there's a reason for it. And the reason for it is because we have a thing called lemons, and those are vehicles that they look great, and then you find out that once you drive them that they're kind of sour. They're not essentially what you expected, and so that's part of the reason why they're called lemons, is because you're expecting to be nice and sweet, and you bite into them, and guess what, they're sour. So you want to avoid that. And so how do you avoid that? A lot of dealerships do offer certified used vehicles. These are vehicles that have gone through rigorous testing to make sure that they are up to code. And then you also have dealerships that just do their own version of certifying their vehicles. They may not be certified used vehicles, but they do go through and do an inspection of the vehicle to make sure they're up to par. Now, if you still don't trust a vehicle, the next best option would be to try to find someone that knows about cars to come in and look at the vehicle that you're interested in getting. So used vehicles, honestly, they're the best option for you if you're trying to save some money. And you can get some pretty good vehicles for used prices, and so I would definitely recommend going with a used vehicle if possible versus a new vehicle, because new vehicles, like I said, are unfortunately overpriced. Now, if you do have the money to go new, go for it, but I do not recommend it. If you want to save yourself some money, go with a used vehicle. Now, dealers have three ways they make money off of you. For the longest time, they made money off of the price. And how do they do that is by making sure they get you the vehicle for the highest price possible. And your goal is to try to drop that price as much as possible if you can. Now, dealers will oftentimes lower the price for you if they know that they're going to be able to make money off you in the long run. And the way they make money off you in the long run is by the two other things I'm about to talk about. So you want to try to lower the price as much as possible. However, if they can't get you on a good price, if you're a good negotiator and you're able to get a good price for yourself, you save yourself an extra $2,000 off that $18,000 price, awesome, that's great for you. Now, then if they couldn't negotiate with you and you save yourself $2,000, they're going to make money off the loan. So how do they make money off the loan? They give you a loan that essentially is long enough to where you're going to be making payments, and unfortunately when you're making all these payments, you're also paying interest rate, and so that interest rate goes to them. And so these loans are designed to be beneficial to them or the company that's giving you the loan. And so they have a partnership with these loan companies if they're not directly giving you this loan, to the point where essentially they're going to make up that $2,000 that they lost from the price negotiations. So if you thought you got a deal by getting this vehicle for $16,000, well, they're going to get their money back when they give you a loan that's designed to give them an extra $2,000. Now, the other way they can get money off of you is by offering you extras. These extras are things like warranties, gaps insurance, tinted windows, emergency kits. These all seem really great, and when they offer them to you, they don't tell you how much they really cost. What they tell you is, for an extra $20 a month, you can have all these great features. That's great. But what they don't tell you is, if you do the math, that $20 a month times 12, then times the 4 years you're going to have the loan amount, or the 5 years or the 6 years, it starts to add up. So once you really see the true cost of all these extra items, you're going to see it's not worth it. You're better off going to get those things separately. You can get your special warranties, gap insurance, tinted windows, emergency kits, all that stuff elsewhere for a better deal, and sometimes even better. So for instance, tinted windows at my dealership would have been $400 when I got it for $200 from someone else, actually less than $200 from someone else. So avoid getting any kind of extras that they're going to offer you. All right, so you want to do your research. You want to do your research on the vehicles that are out there, so you get the vehicle that's going to be the best bang for your buck. You want to find out if the prices that are being offered for this vehicle are fair. You got resources now which were never there before. You got resources like True Car Value. You got things like Kelley Blue Book and other websites out there that essentially can tell you if you're getting a good deal for the vehicle you're trying to purchase. So you have that as an option. You also got Consumer Reports to find out if the vehicle is right for you, if the vehicle can do what you're expecting it to do. And so you want to make sure you do as much research as possible. And you also want to do research on current sales tactics, because sales tactics change from year to year because they're always trying to improve them, because the internet keeps exposing them. And so you want to make sure you're constantly up to date on what's out there when it comes to buying a vehicle. More than likely, there's probably several YouTube videos you can watch on buying vehicles, and so watch them. You want to keep yourself up to date on the current trends. Next thing you can do is a simple one. If you can, take someone with you when you're buying a vehicle. You can take a friend. You can take your mom, you can take your dad, you can take your brother, you can take your sister, you can take your cousin, aunt. Just take someone. And the reason why you want to take someone is because you are not going to be able to notice some of the things that are going on. And it's nice to have an extra pair of eyes to be paying attention. Because if you have an extra person with you, they might be noticing things that you're not seeing. And also, if you fall in love with the vehicle, how are you going to snap yourself out of it? At that point, once you fall in love with the vehicle, you're ready to sign off on anything. But if you have a friend, a relative, somebody else there to help you, they're essentially going to tell you, hey, you know what? You might want to think about this. It's not looking good. Or they might pull you to side and say, hey, let's go home. I kind of want to talk to you. So you need that extra person. So it's a simple step that can be very, very helpful. The next thing is, how are you going to pay for the vehicle? Honestly, the best way to buy a vehicle is in cash. That's the best way to do it, because that way you don't have to deal with loans. You don't have to deal with many of the other extras. Just paying in cash is the way to go. Unfortunately, not everybody has money saved up. So how do you do this? Well, the other option would be to get a loan. Now, if you do need money to pay for this vehicle, like a loan, do get it from your credit union or bank. Now, there are some rare occasions when it's okay to get it from the car dealership, and that's usually when they offer some really great special 0% interest rates kind of thing. However, those are usually only reserved for people who have great credit, and so make sure you have great credit before you even go for those. And you want to make sure that you take a look at all your options, but preferably go with your credit union or bank. Now, if you do have cash or your own loan, make sure you don't mention it to the salesperson, because what they're going to do is, when you're negotiating on price, we talked about the fact that they make money on price, loan, and extras. They know they can't make money off you on the loan. They're not going to give you a good price. So if they still have it in the back of their mind that they're going to make money off of you, they're going to go ahead and give you a good price. And then once you get walking over to the loan office, you're going to be like, no, I don't need a loan. I got cash, or I got my own loan. You know, in some cases, they might try to beat the loan that you have. And if they can, great. If not, you stick with the loan that you have. But try to, if you possibly, avoid mentioning that you have cash or a loan until once they start walking over to the loan office. Now, if you do have a trade-in, honestly, trade-ins are better off that you just sell them to someone else. So if you have a great vehicle, sell it to somebody else, because the dealership's going to try to rip you off. Once again, don't mention that you have a trade to offer in until once you've actually are stepping in to finalize the paperwork and you've already got essentially a final price on the vehicle. Now, the only time you want to trade in your vehicle is if they have a special deal. So, for instance, my old vehicle was not worth anything anymore, so I got $1,000 off of it just because I was able to convince them to take it. So, in those rare occasions, it might be okay to go with a trade-in. So, once again, focus on the out-the-door price first before you even mention that you have cash, a loan, or even a trade-in. All right. So, one thing you want to make sure, actually one of many things you're going to make sure you take a look at, is be up to date on current sales tactics. So the very first one you're going to run into is the lowest price. They're going to tell you that this is the lowest price we've ever had, and you're not going to see this price ever again, which could be true. However, for the most part, it isn't true. So unless you're looking at a Memorial Day weekend or a President's Day weekend or a Veterans Day thing or some other major big sale, July 4th, etc., you are most likely not getting the best deal. And so more than likely that price might go even lower than what it is at the moment. So just because it says it's the lowest price right there and it's not going to get any lower, it's only going to go higher, that's usually just their way of trying to get you to buy the vehicle in that moment. Usually prices go down, they don't go up. Unless it's something that's very rare, which vehicles right now are not very rare. They're just common as anything else. They might tell you, hey, we got another buyer. That's cool. You know, if there was another buyer, they'd be here right now. So, you know, they're going to tell you that too. They have another person here that's interested in getting the vehicle, but you know what? They're not here. So then they're probably not going to show up because there's no other buyer. They're just messing with you. Next one, they might tell you it's the last vehicle of its kind. That might be true. When it comes to used vehicles, it might be the only RX-7 on the lot, or it might be the only 300ZX on the lot, whatever it may be. It's possible it might be the last car. But the odds that it's going to be sold by the next day, that could be an issue. But it depends on how rare the vehicle is. But if you know the vehicle, there's a good chance that it's, you know, it doesn't matter if it is the last vehicle. There's a good chance that no one's even going to see the vehicle for another 2 weeks. So you have time to think about whether or not you're going to purchase that vehicle, especially if you're going to come in the next day or the next 2 days. And so those are just common sales tactics. So you want to be in the know of some of the more common sales tactics. So keep looking around for those. And so the next thing is, when it comes to the salesperson and trying to figure out your final price, what they will do, if let's say you have a down payment, because oftentimes you might have a down payment that you might want to put in for the vehicle, And you wouldn't need to put a down payment if you're going to be paying it in cash or if you're going to be using your own loan. But let's say by chance you do need to put a down payment. What they'll do is they'll take the number of the vehicle. Let's say it's $18,000 that you set on and said, yeah, this is an $18,000 car. That's the sticker price. You're paying a $2,000 down payment. So that means you owe $16,000, right? From here on out, they're going to keep talking about the vehicle as if it's only kind of cost you $16,000. So they're going to keep throwing that number out at you. So it's a lower number than the $18,000. And it's like, wow, $16,000, that's not bad. Well, it's because you already paid $2,000. So they're going to try to avoid making it seem like you already paid $2,000. And if you have a trade-in, they do the same thing. They knock off an extra $1,000 off of there. So like, look, you only owe $15,000. So it's only a $15,000 car. So from there on, the conversation is always going to be about what you're going to need for the loan amount. And they make it seem like that's your out-the-door price, when really it's not. Your out-the-door price is $18,000. What they're trying to do is make it seem like, oh, yeah, they make it seem like they've given you a reduction, when in reality it's your money that's giving you the reduction. And then what they forget to tell you too is whatever that number is, that $15,000, it's that plus you still got to pay taxes, plus you still got to pay titles and licenses, etc. And it's not off the $15,000; it's off the $18,000. So you're still paying over $18,000 for this vehicle, but they're trying to make it seem like you're only paying that lower amount, and they're just gonna keep shoving that number in your face as if that's the number that you're paying. When in reality, you're paying the $18,000 because you already paid $3,000, and plus all the titles, licenses, etc., taxes, all that other stuff. Now, so just keep that in mind. Now, out of all these tactics, at some point, you're going to want to. There's a tactic you could use as a buyer, and it's to walk away. And it's not just a tactic. It's just sometimes it's just the best thing for you to do. Sometimes if you don't feel comfortable, and usually you don't, because you're gonna get pressured by a salesperson, a sales manager, a loan officer, just walk away. Be prepared to walk away. Sometimes when you walk away, they honestly give you some of the better deals. But sometimes you need to look at the paperwork. So take a picture of the paperwork, take it with you, and say, you know what, I need to go home and think about it. And they're going to try to tell you, don't think about it, just buy it now. But no, go home, think about it. This is a process. As you want to go home, you think about it, you want to show it to your friends, family, someone else is going to be able to give you advice and tell you whether or not it's a good deal or not.